Hey there YouTube, Travis here. It's just me. I'm gonna work on the Baker's Dozen Run Hobbit, get it ready for next year. Oh no, wait. Oh. It's Will. Long time no see. Yeah. Oh my god. Well, this is back. I haven't done much with it in the past few months, but Baker's Dozen Year 2 is coming up. I'm really going to try and give this thing a run for its money here. We're going to go to liquid cooling this year, hopefully to avoid a lot of the heat problems associated with running, a maintained DR kit at really high speed, especially now we're going to be through the desert. But we haven't really had a chance. We'll tear apart the top end and see kind of what carnage is here. But we haven't really had a chance to run this thing since it's made its return back to Portland. I got it shipped from Austin via motorcycle shipper. So let's take this thing out in the street and kind of see where we're at. Jump on it. Yeah, boy. So that was with the choke on, which is how we ran it for the last.
Okay, I was gonna say it seems a little
yeah. So cool. It's still got its power, which is good. So hopefully, the bottom end and everything else is healthy enough. But yeah, we're gonna upgrade it. Hopefully, Will and I can get this done here in the next 2 days, because he's visiting from Pennsylvania. But we got us the Malossi water-cooled kit with the cylinder head here. We're breaking all the rules. We purchased the MLM VM20 intake, which is very long, but it does spit it outside the frame. Again, pros and cons to both. I like having the intake inside the frame because it really protects the carb from the elements. But also jetting and cleaning are just super, super hard to do when it's down there. So this will avoid some of that. And hopefully this is nice and well made and doesn't have any air leaks from the factory. Got the gaskets. This is my treats box. For radiator, we have this nice KX65 radiator, which I eBayed. Again, going with, this was made by a Japanese manufacturer or contracted out to, so this should hopefully be a solid setup. They're even nice enough to include some good used hose and hose clamps. That's gonna save a lot of money.
Clamps, there you go.
Yeah, you lose so much money on those. Amazon Prime packaged this up super well. There's the freaking box for it. Nice. There you go. My man, official Bosch water pump. Apparently these pumps draw less than an amp, so they're ideal. Not if you're going to go the electric pump route, not the mechanical route. So draws less than an amp, and apparently some people say, Travis Knoll out of Lancaster says that his does 12 gallons per minute. Some people on the internet say 8. Either way, that's a lot of flow. But this is like a Bosch pump for like a Volkswagen or something like that, accessory water pump. And then also went ahead and just ordered a cheap eBay rectifier here to kind of run the pump. So, Will and I have never built a water-cooled Hobbit.
No.
Water-cooled anything, actually. But, it should be straightforward, right? You put the kit on like normal, and then you mount the radiator, and you mount the water pump, and you take whatever wire off the stator and have that go to the pump and call it a day.
Shouldn't be too bad.
Obviously, without a battery, the water pump will slow down at idle, but that's not really a problem I'm super worried about. So, we'll see. But yeah, there's a lot to tear into on this bike. I don't really know what order we're going to do it, but Will and I are going to get to it. The subframe cracked in New Orleans, and Ryan Nash was kind enough to weld it up for me. But as a more permanent solution to that, we have something else, which is inside this box. Ooh, MLM custom-made subframe, powder-coated in black. I am super stoked on this. According to the website, you can still run the kickstand as normal.
They're so nice to include the plastic bushings for your
pedals.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, those were like a separate line item, but they're kind of included.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, I am crazy stoked on this. Supposedly the factory pedal chain tensioner will also work. Side covers will not, so I have to think of a creative solution for that. But other than that, I'm really happy about this, and I'm thinking that this will be a really, really secure way to do it. So we won't have any worries out there on the road. So this is so what we've got down here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is the stock intake. And I assumed it was just a 12 millimeter, but when we threw some calipers in it, this is 15.75, which is actually kind of big.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Obviously this is far larger for the Mikuni, but that's the VM20 on the other side there.
Yeah.
But when you put that together, it's huge, but like that's pretty cool. That will shoot it outside the frame. And that just slides right on there. That
is nice.
That is nice. We'll see. Here, Will, if you want to take the camera for a sec.
For sure.
So my batteries on this thing are like completely dead. You can very faintly see it, but on this side, 20.96. Yeah. Is the space in here, and then again obviously here this is just 15.65 or depending where I put it, so
almost 16.
Yeah, so it is worth drilling that out 5 millimeters. Alright, so Billy and I got the subframe on. This is the MLM subframe that they sell, and this is a really nice part. There's a couple comments we want to make about the install. And this was all revealed on the product page on Treatland, so no like actual surprises. But if you're like moving quickly and just things you might want to know if you were to buy this yourself. So kickstand is compatible. It still works just fine. On the side with the spring, the whole lineup ain't perfect. But it does work.
It is good. Yeah, that was good.
It just took us like 5 minutes of fighting with the string and the spring to get it on, but it does work. Big thing is that, so obviously no side covers. On the other side, there's welds that line up where the side cover mounts would go, so you have to figure something else for that. The big one, and there's room for the stock pedal chain tensioner, which we're going to put in right there. And pedals go through just fine. Brake plate lines up. The coil, Will figured this out. There's two holes here. One is elongated here, and this one is static. They sell a bracket that goes up to mount the coil higher. Will and I,
we weren't gonna do that.
We're not gonna spend $9, so we just ground off. There's a tang on the back of this on the other side. We just ground that off. Found some long M6 bolts, and this factory. There's a spacer right there.
Yeah, we use the factory spacers from the coil.
So this is a mount, and obviously you have to grind off some of the powder to make a ground.
If you're running points, though, this isn't going to work, because if it was points, your condenser would be mounted to this other side on your ignition coil.
Good
Since
call.
this is CDI, we don't need the condenser. But
so we were able to grind off that tang. But yeah, you'll if you're keeping the condenser here, you'll need that. And obviously, this plastic box no longer has a spot. So yeah, so far, this is proven to be a super nice, high quality part. We'll do another update once the engine is in. It says on there you'll need some longer bolts. The side's a little meatier. But yeah, we'll keep you guys posted. But overall, it's pretty solid. Will's having a lot of fun picking away at the motor seal. I'm just picking away
at the motor seal that was on this.
Which we were forced to
seal it up against the good 1977 moped intake.
Yes. So, this thing is running and riding, and it's still making full power. It's not idling, so I'm anticipating ring damage. Because this was a used kit we put on in Richmond and then put another 1,500 miles on it. So, who knows? Do you want to do the honors?
Yes.
All right.
I'll let you do one too.
Careful. the Graham matzo ball cylinder head.
Oh, you even have washers on here.
Oh yeah, dude. We put out all the stops, and these are converted to studs.
Yeah, that is the way to go on a Hobbit. Or really anything.
Because we had to cut extra threads onto these cylinder studs. That's why we have the coupling nuts, just to maximize, the bite.
All right. Actually, the cylinder itself looks not bad at all.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Huh. Wonder if it was just air leak and jetting and tuning that.
Let's see.
Because we ran this the whole rest of the way with the choke on. Better get out the claw hammer. No, well, that was like a joke.
No, I'm grabbing the rubber mount.
Okay. Jesse Stevenson will be rolling in his grave if he could see you now. No, well, actually, I think we did. Yeah, we did put Moto Seal because we were having to reuse the base gasket.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh my god. Well, it looks pretty fine. This camera's not going to focus. It's time for me to get a new camera, but there's no major nicks or gouges or anything like that. And the piston looks good. It's got that on it.
Who knows? It could have been there.
Yeah, this was a used kit, so. Oh, it's got some. Look at the bottom.
Okay, by the exhaust. Okay. All right. We got some smearing there.
Which I can't remember if that was like that either.
But the cylinder doesn't look half bad. I mean, you can see some evidence of it, though.
Gentle hone and back on the road for somebody.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to buy 2 used DR kits. Alright, well, we're just going to scrape the old base gasket off and then we
Throw on the new cylinder.
put on our new cylinder. Will, this is why I pay you the big bucks. Meticulous attention to detail when getting that old gasket off, which we had to Moto Seal because we didn't have a replacement gasket. But got that off. I guess now we just install the new cylinder head.
Yeah.
Sick. So we're skipping some steps here, but we got the old cylinder completely off, and we're putting the new Malossi cylinder on. This is new territory. I mean, so we got these O-rings that go around the, just trying to eliminate any. Oh, I see what you're saying. I think it'll be probably fine. I mean, there's like sealing surface here.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just trying to make sure they're actually in.
Yeah. There's some weird things because these are elongated Minarelli studs that we cut additional threads on. And, but yeah, it comes with O-rings for the cylinder studs. It comes with O-ring for the combustion chamber area. And then it comes with an O-ring for the area outside of where the water is. Wow. All right.
Okay.
Nice. All right, let's put this thing together a little bit more. Well, what size was this drill bit?
Oh, that's a very good question. Believe it was 11/16. Yeah.
That's pretty much the magic number for drilling out the stock Hobbit intake. We were kind of worried about going any further. As you can see, we're already kind of getting into the bottom lip there. Any bigger might have started to cut into the mating surface. God forbid. Anyway, so that's kind of nice. It's almost 20 millimeters.
Yeah, it's like 19.5 or something. It's
pretty good.
Very close.
You got a good collection of metal shavings. It was real scary drilling that out with just this drill, not a drill press, but we did it with a $20 drill bit. But got it done. Now the VM20 MLM intake will go right on it.
Right there. Looking good.
Nice. So we've been skipping some steps here in the interest of time. Hooking the wiring back up, but we got the motor on. We got some good spacers here for the long threads on these studs. I got my Trail Tech hammered in there. Hopefully that makes the seal. Yeah, the motor's back on. We had to get some new bolts for some of the mounts, but we're there. And so the water cooled head is done, and we went to hardware store as well as the auto parts store. Got a bunch of hose because the barbs on the pump and the barbs on the kit are similar, but this is the hose. It's much smaller for the dirt bike radiator. So we've got, oh man, just 1 million fittings, hose clamps, $50 worth of brass fittings, bendy elbows. We have like an idea of what this is going to look like, but it's not completely out in the open yet. But we'll keep you all posted as we move things along here. Alright, so Will's done with his gin over there. We got this thing pretty much dialed in. I'm going to come at this from the other side so we get better lighting. But we got everything all together. We pretty much just need to put the belt on, put some coolant in here.
I think that's it.
And that should be it.
Everything's wired up.
Pedal chain, but we don't need that to start it. So basically, for the plumbing, here's the KX65 radiator. The top comes around the frame, goes into this adapter here to step down from whatever size hose that small one is to 3/4 inch. Do you know what size that small hose?
It's 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And that goes into the top of the cylinder. And then from the top of the cylinder, or top of the head, sorry, we go to the cylinder. We come out to the Bosch accessory water pump here, which I have this nice bracket bolted into where the exhaust normally would have mounted, the factory stock exhaust. And that comes up here. I got this $19 piece of hose here that had a bend in it from the auto parts store. And then we go from 3/4 inch step down to 1/2 inch back into the radiator. So that plumbing is pretty simple. And there's no kinks, and there's hose clamps on almost all of it, so I feel pretty confident. We got plumber's tape, and we really cranked down on these two.
This should be good.
This should be good. As for the wiring, I got those little spade connectors for where the clip connector would have gone, and this is positive, and then green is ground, traditional Hobbit colors actually. So those come up, and they go into
Rectifier.
yes,
here.
this rectifier, which is $1.87 on eBay, and it's good up to 50 amps, I think. That's way overkill, but basically, and there's this voltage regulator, which I'll come around to the other side here. So we had this voltage regulator in here already, and then this brown was just the ground for the voltage regulator. And then we found some OG Hobbit wiring, which is great because you get the two connectors into one quite easily.
Perfect.
So the way we have this set up is from the voltage regulator, this goes out back to the wiring block for the lights, but we have a splice on here to go to in here to start to rectify the AC to DC. The other AC goes to ground, and then this is the positive for the water pump, and then the negative for the water pump. And that's it.
Yep.
That's like pretty simple, and I'm hoping that this doesn't cause us any problems and that we did a nice simple build. Obviously there's some things, like I have the radiator mounted utilizing the original factory gas tank bolt down here, then a zip tie up top. So maybe I'll make a bracket that pushes this out a little bit so everything's not so jumbled, but other than that,
Works for now.
yeah, we should be good to go. And I love the new carb position. It's rear facing, so we're hopefully not going to get any debris. Look how easy it is to access the main jet on the VM20. Drop the bowl if we need to. Get the top of the carb off. That's actually pretty nice. I was one of the haters for the long intake, that it's too long and whatever. But gosh, this is just so nice. All right, well, we're gonna put some coolant in it, throw the belt on it, and see if we can fire this thing up.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is actually done. Well, bike is never done, but I think coolant system is all set up. Will and I were pretty much just brought to tears a couple times because, so the way we have it now, we have a curved tube here to eliminate that brass elbow, which is great. But this fitting here, you'll notice Will and I have sinned We have some black RTV on here, and here's why. So, you know, again, on paper, these fittings all match up. They're kind of different materials, but you know, it's a 1/2 inch, and then you go step up to this coupler, and then you go the coupler to a 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
And this seal's perfect right here, this union. And these are two like higher quality materials. But this one, first off, it had this rubber O-ring in it, which we left that on, then we had a drip leak. It was just drip, 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 drip from there. We used plumber's tape, and then a lot of plumber's tape, still dripped. And our theory right now is that this piece right here, this 3/4 piece, this is some like garden hose technology.
Yeah.
And that perhaps these threads aren't a perfect match for each other. Again, on paper, you know, it threads and it looks nice, but there's just some gap in there that's really throwing it off. So we went the route of using some goop. I couldn't find my Moto Seal, so this is RTV black. And this is a sin, and we have a duplicate
One more
connector up here. And again, it's just, I think that 3/4 is just a lower quality fitting, and if there's any experienced veteran plumbers out there, maybe they'll be able to confirm. But you know, we bought these pieces all at the same hardware store.
It's just different threads, I think, for like garden hose versus like NPT. I don't know.
Yeah, if there's an experienced plumber, they might be able to shed some light on that. But every website, we were doing some additional research, called this like garden hose fitting, meant for, you know, 40 psi, not psi, whatever. Yeah, some rating. So I think that might just be a failing of that technology. But other than that, yeah, hose clamps, we got good snug fits all around. And we topped her off with coolant, as much as she would take at this angle right here. So we should be good to go. We'll just have to fire it up and see. Here we go. She's running. I'm just looking for leaks.
All right. Can you feel if the pump's running?
We got one up on that one, but this one, lower one, is not.
Oh, and that's at the other fitting, so that's fine. We can crank that down more.
You're good. You're good. Rich?
Yeah, just super rich.
Choke off?
Yeah.
Alright, we can throw a smaller jet in there.
It's okay. I mean, I'm good.
Okay. Don't die. Watch out for the school bus. Oh, there he goes. Okay there, YouTube. Well, this build is officially back in swing. Will was only here for 2 days. He had to fly back to Pittsburgh, but the bike does run, and now we just have to downjet. There's a few other things we need to do. We got to build a little bit of a stay to put that carb on to make sure that it's not stressing that long intake too much. I'm going to have the seat redone because that was still factory Honda padding in there, and that stuff was not really cutting the mustard for Baker's Dozen Run last year. But anywho, videos on this are going to be coming a little bit more frequently here. Thanks for keeping along with the ride, everybody. Until next time.